welcome to the Okaloosa segment of the Okaloosa Today Show. I'm Kathy Newby, Public Information Officer for Okaloosa County, and today my guest is Randy McDaniel, who is Emergency Management Division Chief. Welcome, Randy.
Hi, Kathy.
We are going to talk about and prepare everybody for hurricane season, which begins in June.
It's just right around the corner, actually.
That's right, and we always say, are you ready, Okaloosa? The first 72 are on you. So, and we're kind of going into it after a weird weather year and lots of rain. Can you talk about that?
Well, we've actually had an interesting season so far for weather. We've had a historic ice storm, and then placed on top of that, historic rainfall. And we are in the middle of a disaster declaration right now for the rainfall. In fact, the Disaster Recovery Center is still open in Crestview. It's at 205 Stillwell Boulevard in Crestview. And during the weekdays, it's open 8 to 7, and on Sundays, it's open 11 to 7. So go on out there and register with FEMA. If you've already registered and you have questions, you can go out to the Disaster Recovery Center and sit down with a FEMA person face-to-face and ask them your questions.
Yeah, we've had like over 800 registrations for FEMA assistance since that April rainstorm. So
I believe it. We flooded all over.
We're going into the season with a lot of rain. The waterways are fairly high unusually high, which is not ideal circumstances for going into hurricane season.
No, we're still very saturated. The ground is saturated. In fact, over the next couple of days, we have a forecast for another 1.5 inches of rain. The Shoal River, which usually is around 3 feet, is right now at 6 feet. So the water levels are high in the county.
They really are, and luckily, historically, when we've had hurricanes, they have been later in the year. So positively speaking,
yes,
we've got some time to recover.
We have time for things to drain.
Let's talk about recovery times a little bit, because it's going to take us a long time to recover from some of this rain that we've had, especially the rain event in April. I mean, it's going to take, I know in talking to Public Works, it's going to take roads a long time. I mean, it's going to take us a long time to fix some of those roads.
It really will. We had a large number of roadways that were damaged or closed altogether from the flooding. Of course, our residents with their homes, and it takes time to recover from those disasters. Now, the aid and assistance from FEMA is coming in. The Small Business Association is in and doing loans for businesses. But the recovery time for any disaster is usually a little extended and takes a while to restore things completely back to normal.
Are there any predictions? We normally get predictions at this time of year from the state.
There are predictions right now for the hurricane season. Dr. Gray at Colorado State has predicted a below average season. The NOAA folks at the Hurricane Center have predicted just about the same thing. They're saying there's a 50% chance that we'll have a below average season, 40% chance that it'll be a normal season, and then 10% that it could be above. But what they're really calling for is 8 to 13 named storms, 3 to 6 hurricanes, and 1 to 2 major hurricanes that could possibly occur. Now, just because they're calling, though, for a below normal season doesn't mean that we couldn't see a storm, because out of all those storms, they're going to go somewhere.
All it takes is one
bad
one.
That's it. So people need to prepare. It doesn't matter what the forecast is. Go ahead and prepare. Make sure your plans are up to date, your hurricane kits are ready to go.
Review your plan.
Yes, and test your plan, because if you don't test it, it's nothing more than words on a piece of paper.
Right. Very good. And of course, we're going to try and help them do that. And they can register for Radio Okaloosa.
They can.
And Code Red.
They can. We tell
those.
folks to go ahead and put their plans together, but if they're not quite sure what they should plan for, if they go to the county's webpage and they scroll all the way down to the bottom, they'll see the Radio Okaloosa emblem, or not the Radio Okaloosa, the Code Red emblem. They can click on that and register for Code Red. That's the county's warning system. Or they can put their cursor over top of the word departments on the home page, and that will drop down, and put your cursor over the top of the name Public Safety, and a box will open, and just click on Radio Okaloosa, and you'll be able to register. And when you do, we'll send you a packet of planning information. We'll send you a shopping list, which is broken down by weeks, and you buy a little bit each week, and it's not a big major impact to your budget, and you can put your hurricane kit together.
If you start early, absolutely. And we try to stay engaged with our residents by every means possible, and this is certainly one way. You know, we try to address all the varied needs of various citizens, from social media to our website to these packages, so that you can prepare for your family and you can prepare a business plan.
It's very important that businesses prepare as well, not just individuals, because once a storm goes by, most of the businesses that don't have a plan will not reopen.
Right.
They'll never go back into business. And that's a major impact to us, because the county can recover roads and bridges and public buildings, but the county's not going to really recover unless the financial backbone of the county, the economical backbone, recovers. People need to be able to go back to work. They have to be able to have an income coming in. We need those businesses opening back up, so it's important they plan.
Right. If you've ever experienced that, you know that all those dots connect after the storm.
They do. It's all linked.
So, and you know, I know that you all go out and talk to businesses. So if somebody needs, you know, if somebody's got a small business and they just moved here and they don't know what to do, that y'all will certainly walk them through that process.
Happy. Yes, we will be more than happy to help them.
Because we want to reach out and talk to all of those people. And there's not very many people who don't have a phone. And so we have an Okaloosa app. Let's talk about our Okaloosa app that you can get free on your phone.
It is called Ready Okaloosa. Now we do need to update the app. There's a couple of items on the app that are not connecting correctly right now, so we're working at updating those. But the app will give you information from road and bridge closures. It will allow you to access the Ready Okaloosa and Code Red site once that portion of the app is updated, because the URLs have changed on us, so we need to update it.
Okay.
But it will give you a lot of information that is at your fingertips. And we're working toward putting our WebEOC, which is the disaster management system we use to manage disasters, we're working to put a page directly to the app that will feed live information to people. So as we update it on the WebEOC site, it will update to the app, so they'll have the most current information at their fingertips.
And you should know also, if you live in a flood zone and what kind of zone you're living in, that you can find that out on our website. Is that on the app as well?
It's not the flood zones, because the maps are so large the app can't handle the flood zones. But if they go to the county's website, they can go into WebGIS and they can find out what flood zone they live in, they can find out what surge zone they live in, and they can actually type in their address from the public safety site, and it will tell them if they live in an evacuation zone or not, and if it does, which one. If they register for Ready Okaloosa from the county's website, we will send them a map that tells them specifically what flood zone they live in, and we'll send them a map showing them what evacuation zone, if any, they live in, so that when we announce evacuations, they'll know whether we're talking about them or not.
Right. So, and if you need any help with that, you can always call our Citizens Information line at 311.
Or they can call the normal public safety line at 651-7150.
Yep.
And we'll be happy to help them.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Let's talk about, we were talking about that web page that basically we use in the EOC that's constantly updated by the various emergency support functions. You know, you're talking about that. Why don't we share with our residents a little bit of what goes on in the EOC?
Well, at the point that we see that we're threatened by a storm or some other type of an event, we'll turn to the county commission and we'll ask for a local state of emergency. That allows the EOC to fully activate, and it allows us to bring those workers in to man the EOC. And then we use the system called WebEOC, which is an internet-based system, and it takes the EOC outside the four walls. So all the nursing homes, the hospitals, all of those outside entities are connected into it. The military is connected into it. The state has access to it. Our sister counties have access to the system. Municipalities, and it gives us an ability to share information in real time, so that no one's out in the dark. No one has this position where they don't know what's happening. We can all access the same information. We can share information. Municipalities can make requests to the EOC of things they need, and it's an instantaneous information sharing system, and it allows us to share information with the state of Florida and quickly get information to them as well.
And so we can constantly update that page where people will know what roads are closed and what issues
we can. Once that page feeds to the county's website, they'll actually be able to just click on it, and it will give them real time what roads and bridges are open or closed.
So we're hoping to get that online fairly quickly in the EOC. And of course, this great new facility that we have out at Northwest Florida State College is what's making all this possible. So we really appreciate that partnership with the college.
The college has been wonderful in that partnership.
And the EOC, if you haven't seen it, I mean, you can come out and tour it. I mean, it's really a wonderful facility. It will serve our citizens well. should we have in a storm, and
well
already
into
has.
the future. Well into
and
the
already
future.
has, yeah. So a lot of preparation going on. Let's talk about special needs. How do we handle those prior to a storm? We usually try and get ready, try to get everybody registered, really.
We have a special needs registry, so we ask people that have special needs that they would have in a shelter, any medical needs, to go ahead and register with us. It allows us to plan, prepare, and it allows us to tell them whether we can take care of those needs and the special needs shelter, which is at Davidson Middle School in Crestview. And the shelter is wired with an emergency generator. It's constantly checked. It has a full tank of diesel fuel so that if commercial power is lost, that school will maintain power. It will maintain air conditioning. We can help people to be a little more comfortable in the storm and to not have those worries about medical equipment that they need to operate.
Absolutely.
So it allows us to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We absolutely have to have that. But, I mean, again, so that's the shelter that always opens first. And then if we have, if we
yes.
need others, then they will open accordingly. But let's talk about shelters. I mean, if you can evacuate, it's always better to evacuate, because the shelter is not your optimum choice, but it's certainly a choice that we have and we will provide. But if you can actually evacuate, take your family, take your pets, you'll be more comfortable, certainly. But
shelters are schools, so you're staying in a school hallway. It's not comfortable, it's not luxurious. It's just a safe place. No, it's not home. It's a safe place for the wind. So if you have other options, then you would want to exercise those options and go someplace else. But the shelters are there and they're ready if we need them.
And we learned that we just recently have been able to also take pets. But again, your pet's not going to be with you when there's a storm. Your pet will be in a kennel elsewhere, and you'll be reunited after the storm. So,
yes.
I mean, again, we can accommodate all these things. We'll try to meet all the needs of the community, but it's good to keep those things in mind as well, that, your optimum choice to be all together is to evacuate. But if you have to be here, you will be separated from your pet until the storm is over, because safety of everyone, of course, is a priority.
Well, we have to take into consideration people who have allergies to pets and could have allergic reactions during the storm. So we do have pet-friendly shelters. Davidson Middle School is a pet-friendly shelter, but the pets do not stay in the school. And the same with the Raider Arena at the Northwest Florida State College campus in Niceville. It is a shelter, and it's a pet-friendly shelter, but the pets do not stay with you. Now, service animals are allowed inside the shelters, but your normal pets are not.
Okay. And then we have another, our website. When we go into our emergency mode, our website actually goes into a 24/7 activation too. Wanted to kind of touch on that. I mean, again, we try all these different ways to communicate with people, and this is certainly another way. We mentioned having that new web EOC page that would show up there, but we've for years had this page that would come up in an emergency where you can get quick updates as well.
Right, the press releases are there, so if you've missed a press release, they're all posted to that page. Again, roads and bridge closures are at that page. There's a large amount of information, and then we also
shelter
have,
list.
Yes, the shelter list
Maps.
and which shelter is open, because we don't open all of the shelters.
Right.
They're open in a phased manner. So it will list the shelters that are open and where those shelters are located. Plus, we have our Facebook page that people can access.
Well, that was the next thing. Let's talk about social media. We also have that, which has been a great help. We have a Facebook page. We also have a Twitter page. You can find us at Okaloosa County Public Safety, and you can find us on Twitter at Okaloosa EOC, all caps. So we do have numerous ways to reach out and communicate, and often instantly. I mean, we try to instantly get that information out, or if somebody has a question, we'll post an answer, and so there's lots of ways to stay connected, right, Randy?
I've been amazed how effective the Facebook page has been, even in the ice storm, with people posting questions and asking things, and we were able to immediately respond. And to me, that means there may be 200 people that have that same question. So you've answered a large number of people's questions with just a few strokes of a keyboard.
Right. It does. It's been a very, very key way to communicate. So again, we have all these different ways. Our website, our 24/7 page, emergency page that goes up. We have our phone app if you don't have a computer, and then we have Facebook and Twitter and all those
And our
things.
Citizens Information Line.
And our Citizens Information Line. If you have none of the above, we still have our Citizens Information Line that is 311. And of course, outside the county, it is 850-609-7000. So.
And if you don't have access to those, but you do have access to a radio, we have several radio stations that broadcast from the EOC.
Well,
And we
and
can
that's a
get them.
very important part. Always tune in. We always say that in our news releases, to tune in to your local media. You know, we feed information to that local media, so encourage everybody to turn in to local radio, local TV, local newspapers, and we will be sending information to them as well. So we have all these different ways to communicate and get that message out there.
Yes, we do.
And if we don't cover something, you can call us.
Yes, you can, and we'll answer it.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us today. Any closing thoughts before we go to the public information update?
I would just ask people, I know it's been a long time since a hurricane has struck our area. It's been 10 years since Hurricane Ivan. It's been 9 since the next season, and we had our hurricane come up through Santa Rosa County. What I would ask people is, even though it's been a long time, don't let that fool you into thinking that we're safe, that we're not going to see a hurricane. We could
Don't
see
get complacent.
Yes, we could see a hurricane any given year. So I would ask people, go ahead and get ready and prepare. You may think that you might be wasting your time, but if one makes landfall here, or a strong tropical storm makes landfall here, and we lose commercial power, you're going to be much better off if you did prepare.
Well, thank you so much, Randy, for
You're
joining
welcome.
us today. Randy McDaniel, Emergency Management Division Chief. We're going to move into the public information update. And speaking of the 311 Citizens Information Line, I often get calls with questions from people saying, I didn't know who to call and ask about this or what department to contact. Well, you can go to our homepage, click on that 311 info icon, and actually email us a question, and that department so you don't have to try and figure it out. We will have somebody answer that question. So I want to remind people that service is out there, because it's a great service. And you can always call me too. But and then this month we will cut the ribbon on Phase 1 of Veterans Park, officially opening the nature trail and additional boat trailer parking at nearby Marler Park. I encourage residents to take a walk along the Choctawhatchee Bay and see the wildlife in this natural setting. You can do it today. It's open now, and then also we're going to open the Bayview Plaza at the Emerald Coast Convention Center very soon, so you'll see that outdoor venue. And then speaking of our veterans, we wanted to let you know that Veterans Services was on hand to open the Vet Success Center at the Northwest Florida State College, and we have so many vets here, and that'll help them whatever their circumstances. So if you need that, make sure you go out to the Northwest Florida State College. And I will close this show, and thank you for tuning in to Okaloosa Today.
Thanks for watching Okaloosa Today. Join us again next month to learn about local news and information for Okaloosa County, Fort Walton Beach, and Destin.